How are you today?
I am doing pretty good.
I'm glad to hear it.
So I'm just like checking everything to make sure it works so that I can be ready to go on time.
I hear you. Well, we're on Facebook now. I put us on Facebook. I want to see if we're there, and then I want to share us everywhere. And then about a couple minutes, we'll start.
Okay.
We're going to talk. Listen, I'm going to let you talk. Basically, what you want to talk about. I know you want to talk about property taxes. That's beautiful. That's perfect. But I want to make sure that you get enough time because everybody told me last time I didn't give you enough time, and I don't understand why. But I want to make sure that you have your time to talk. I'll interject in between, I'll come in and out, but I want this to be your time because you know what you're talking about. Um, I only have an idea of what you're touching. There's a little tip of the iceberg. You know exactly what you're doing. And I want to let you just take the ball like you're running with the goalpost. I'm just your supporter.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
How long do you want it to be?
Well, we can do it. Listen, I mean, if you want to go, we can take calls. I got, we can put the number up there. I could take calls if you want to. There was people that wanted to call last time. There's people that wanted to find out more about the PDF you were offering. We can do that again. We could spread it to every Facebook page, wherever we want to do it. I got three my alone: Hamilton Radio Family, and Hamilton Radio Shows. So you're going to be on them three pages, and plus all the other internet radio plus mortgage pages, and we'll just see where it goes. I mean,
Okay, cool,
I
cool.
mean,
And
I'm open to suggestions,
people.
my friend.
I didn't hear you.
I'm open to suggestions.
Oh, okay. And people can call in also talk about the foreclosure situation too, because that's really what I
Absolutely,
specialize in.
right, right. Absolutely. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna primarily talk about your property taxes because I know that's what you're gonna focus on, and you make sure you focus on your courses too. A lot of people
Good.
don't
Right,
understand.
right.
We'll write down make sure you all your contact information, how they can contact you, how they can get it. If you want me to send you emails, they want to send an email to me. That's fine. I'll forward it to you. That's not a problem. This way, it's coming from me to you, and whatever you want to do about that's fine.
Yeah, no, my email address is all over everything, so they're welcome to
Okay, good.
contact me from an email address or leave. So, uh, hmm, if there's a way we could leave on the screen or leave someplace, I don't know how we would do it. I know when this is over, I'm going to record it, so
Mhm.
and post it on YouTube, and then I could leave all
Beautiful,
that
beautiful.
information in the
Right,
in the in the comment section.
right. Well, there's also a way to me to do it too, but I'm still learning
Yeah, me
Zoom.
too. Me too. I
I'm still
haven't
learning
learned how to
Zoom.
make things shoot in and look all cool.
Listen, I don't even have time to do that. I just want to get the up and running going. Once I get all that done, I have friends that work at these different locations, like one that works at Google. I have another friend that actually works at Zoom and knows Zoom, and I'm deferring everything to him. Like, how do I do this? He's like, well, you do tutorials, but yeah, but it doesn't explain how to do this. So
Yeah.
what I'm actually going to do is probably something that you're going to do is I'm actually going to have a online tutorial where people are going to pay to come watch me show them how to do certain things, show them how to work on a computer and get things on the computer to work the way they want them to, and to block certain things, viruses, and all this other stuff. So I'm working on that with a couple of my friends from Google, and I have some friends that are in IT like I was. So there's a lot of different ways that we can play this out here. I'm trying to, in other words, trying to play on your greater good, which what you're doing. Thank God you're doing it. Thank God there's somebody like you doing it. Um, but like I said, we're getting ready to release a movie site very soon. I think the credit card thing has just got to be changed, and of course we got to change the server because if we get some of the documentaries or things like you do, the vignettes or whatever, if we put them on there, we're going to get overswamped by people on the server. It's going to shut the server down quickly. So we have to move to another server, something like that takes care of YouTube and Google. And that's what we're doing. We're moving over. It's like 2 cents a gigabyte. But everybody that goes there has to pay to watch movies. The thing is, that's great. But the thing is, the movies ain't going to come down. You know what I'm saying? We're not censoring movies. We're controlling what people can see based on what people want to see. They want to see you, they see you. They want to see thing about child sex trafficking from a movie producer, they're going to see that. You know, they're going to be warned about what it is, but they're going to still see it. It's not coming off. It's not being blocked. It's not being censored. That's the difference between a corporation owning you or you owning what you want.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why I've never incorporated my business, because I work with a couple of people. I found the process that you can use to cancel out a lawsuit against you. Oh, wow. And I used it with one of my bosses, and then when I worked for the car dealership, and they actually got him under control by using the fact that he can't file things, and he can't represent himself as a corporation in court.
Mm-hmm.
And so once that happened, I was like, oh, hell no, there's no way I'm ever going to be incorporated, because it ain't going to happen, because, you know, there's no way, after what I've been through, there's no way I'm going to court with an attorney nowhere close to me. And most of them, when they look me up, they're like, oh, hell no.
They don't even want
trouble.
They don't even want to venture it your way. You know? I mean, hey, Guy, that's funny in a way, because what that shows me is not only are you an intimidating person by what you do, but you're actually making them afraid of you, which is what I love. That's beautiful. I mean, that's.
And you know what's sad about it? What's sad about it is I have to do this to get respect.
I know. And look at me, 24 years broadcasting, and look what I've been going through hell to try to keep people out there, to keep them informed, because they rather listen to the regular media or FM radio or other things. And I told them there's so much more here than meets the eye, And the thing is, to convince people that, to show people that, you got to do it. The action speaks louder than words, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You learn that real fast when you're raising kids.
Oh, I know. Tell me that. I know that for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, let me just put us everywhere. I'm gonna do that real quick. If you want to share us, you can too. Go ahead, and then we'll start the show, and then I'll start putting the numbers up. We're already starting getting people watching us, which is good.
Well, this will be cool, because if I can share, then I can go ahead and start out and talk a little bit about the course. I can open it up and show the inside of it.
Absolutely. I think that, yeah, go ahead.
And then people can see the titles of the curriculum and have an idea.
Well, the best part about this too is, and this is what I always say is great, for the people that can't watch us, they can hear us. They can hear us on HamiltonRadio.net. They can hear us on Channel 1 soon as we start the show. So the people that are actually watching Facebook now, watching the video, are getting a little bit more information. But when I start the show, recording everything like that, they're going to miss all this. So, it's always good to be earlier than later, because there's bits and pieces that you get, like pre-talk of like a sports situation or whatever it is. And this is the kind of stuff that people are missing out on, but that's not their fault. It's just the way we design it and do it. To listen to us at work, at their lunch hour or whatever, is just as important to watch us. So if you listen to us today, you listen to Guy today, and you listen to me, please search out the video. It'll be on my page, Gene Pirro. It'll be on Guy's page probably. And it'll be in all the different groups that Hamilton Radio has. You just search Hamilton Radio on Facebook and you'll find it. Guy Neighbors, search him on Facebook and you'll find it. Look for these places and share the video. We're asking you to not only look at it, but share it. Correct, Guy?
Yep, that is correct.
Because you're gonna be our foot soldiers. You're gonna be the people that help us gain the knowledge to other people as what we're doing, as what he's doing, what I'm doing, and how we are working together to make you more powerful against the courts and against the banks and against people that are trying to take away your home, or or even, like you said, even property taxes. That's a big subject right now. Nobody is working at school, nobody's going to school, so people are still paying property taxes, guy.
And you know what I heard, Gene? I had one of my clients call me one day, one of my customers in our private Facebook page, and she told me she works in she works in the courthouse, and everybody's been off and they've been closed, except they've been allowing the attorneys to go in and people from the title company to go
Yep,
in, which
yep,
are the attorneys, to go in and do stuff.
yep.
So what they're doing is they're preparing. So when the moratorium is lifted, when everything gets open, the
Yep.
doors, they want to have everybody ready to go to start rolling them through.
That's why I tell people right now. I say a lot of people, don't neglect your bills. Don't neglect your bills. If you can pay them, please pay them. If you can't, at least contact the people and make documents. So show them that you're having an issue or a problem. But at least try to pay what you can. And listen, I'm not for anybody against bills. All right. I know you make a bill, you pay it. Some of the things the mortgage companies did, some of the things the banks did, or all the things they did, to me, is very ignorant of people to see that they're not trying to make any money on the deal. And at the same time, looking at it from a notary's point of view, when they tell you they don't want you to tell them anything, you're trying to hide things. That's something I don't want to do. So let me be completely blunt and honest about this. I don't want to see anybody lose their home. I don't want to see anybody lose anything. But the point is, please let them know you're in a situation. Document it. At least do that, and go from there. We have several friends that are getting ready to lose their homes. We have several friends that don't have the money coming in, and they're barely affording this and barely affording that. All I'm saying is, if you can make the payment, make the payment. What I see right now, Guy, I don't know if you see this, but a lot of my friends are talking about there's going to be a setback. And in that setback, we're going to actually get the money back from what we paid. I don't know if you're seeing that. I don't know if you believe in Nasara, Gasara, and all that other stuff. I don't know what to believe. I'm just saying, I'm looking at it from all the different sides. And that's the thing. Where does our faith take us? Where do we believe? Well, who do we believe it from? Some things sound so stupid and crazy, outlandish, but who's making it up? Who's saying these things? And who's the person taking it out to the public, telling them these things? So with all that said, there's a lot of, hidden faith and understanding, and also people that are confused. What do I believe?
Well, Gene, I'll tell you, for me, I've done my homework, and when these, I'm in for paying your bills too, and all that. But at the end of the day, the process is, as a corporation, if you have a loss, you're allowed to claim that on your taxes and write it and claim it on your insurance and write it off your taxes. It's called the corporate charge off.
Right.
And once you do that, all that is put away. It's done. Now you search on the internet and say, oh well, you still owe the bill, they can still come after you. Legally, they can't. And here's why. When they do come after you, it's because the alleged debt was illegally sold to them after it was charged off.
Right.
So that means that on the accounting of the original books, there's no place to add this additional income that just came in after you claimed it on your taxes. I think there's a word for what that's called, but they don't want to. There's a lot of things that attorneys have led us to believe that are just not true. And people will they'll Google it. Oh, yeah, no. A lot of the stuff that you pull up is stuff that attorneys put on there to reinforce the fact that they're lying. Starting out with, attorneys have a license to practice law. On the square versus the Board of Examiners, no state can license the practice of law. And that's pretty much why I stick in their face when people get in my face about helping. But you know, at the end of the day, and this is what I tell them too, and they have no, at the end of the day, it's not about what's going on now, has nothing to do with the stinking law. It's public policy. It has nothing to do with the law. It's corporate rules, because these rules and statutes and revised codes do not contain the elements necessary to be considered a valid law.
I love that. I love how blunt you are with that too, and the facts and the truthfulness that you come out with shows that you're a caring guy.
Well, thank you.
No, I know. I see it. I see it from other people. The people that contact me and say, "Oh, Guy's a great guy. I mean, he's an awesome person. You got to meet him, and you got to talk to him." And I'm like, "Well, we will."
I'll tell you, I have one group member in the private page who called me up one day, and he was going over the lawsuit package, and he asked me a couple of questions about the package, and I'm thinking now, if he had read it and done his homework, he wouldn't be asking me. I don't think he would be asking me these questions. So I asked him, I said, so why are you, so what this question? He said, oh, well, I've been talking to a couple of my attorney buddies, and this is what they said. And apparently I don't do too well when people tell me that. So if people call and ask a question, don't tell me that you're asking me because your attorney buddy said something, because I kind of got a little grumpy. It's like, blow the whistle, and he's on the bench. You're on the bench, buddy. Go sit on the bench.
And explain to them why, because now they're coming from the side of the bar. They're coming from the side of the people that are against the people, and they don't care.
This is how
rule of law type of thing.
Right. This is how I explain it, Gene.
Right. Good.
There's a conventional foreclosure defense or the conventional legal process, and there's a non-conventional. They structured the conventional, okay, and it's structured around arguing, and when the arguing is done, the judge gets to help them. That's just the way it's set up. Now, the non-conventional program is set up to attack them for the stuff that they were doing wrong in their conventional program. And people don't realize that, and that is the reason why when people call me, I don't need to hear all of the things that happened from 2015 or whatever, because that's not what we're addressing. We're going to address what happened at the gate, at the very first part at the gate is what we address, and that's pretty much the same for everybody, no matter what state you're in.
I love that. I love the fact that you're so, like I said, you're so caring and you understand. See, when you talk to you're so intelligent. It's not that, you deny what they're saying. You just say it's completely bullshit. And I love that, because it is. You're calling what you see as you see it. And that's what people need to do.
Well, I tell people sometimes I played football in college and then I boxed for a few years. I got in that tough man contest in Kansas City. So that stuff crazy people do, people who aren't that smart. So I have to keep things simple. And when you keep it simple, it knocks out the arguing. And then, like we just said, once the arguing starts, then they get to come in and help. Yeah. So we put together a new online course, Gene, that we just launched here last week.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I have it pulled up on the screen share. I'd like to just kind of open it up for a little while and give everybody kind of a tour inside of it.
Please do.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Let me see. Maybe I can go in and fix that. Just hang on. Like I said, I'm still learning this thing. I'm sorry.
Me too.
I'm still learning it. Let me see if I can sharing. Okay, sharing. Hold on. Sharing screen. What is it? Now enable remote control of all applications. See if that helps. I don't know if that's going to help.
It made a noise over here.
I know. Let's see.
No.
Let's try that one. No, I want to keep that one. Not that one. I want to keep that one. it really doesn't give me any options to share unless I go into the thing and then share it that way. There's more settings. Hold on. If anybody who knows how to use Zoom, please contact me because I'm trying to figure it out. I really am.
How to use Zoom through YouTube.
It's
We're zooming through
crazy. I mean,
YouTube.
there's so many. I mean, we had GoToMeeting. GoToMeeting is not as complicated, but it's not widely used. It's used more for big corporations and companies. So for me to even know where to look, I don't know. Um, I'm still
Well,
looking.
that's all right, because what I can do is I made a live stream last night, and I included the online curriculum, and I actually walked through it and covered each one, except it had about an hour and a half length on it. I had to chop off because I couldn't figure out how to turn the
Oh,
live
I
stream
found it.
off.
I found it. I found it. Let's see. All right. All participants should be able to share. So let's see if that helps. Now you can try it. See if that works. If not, probably what I'm going to have to do is we'll restart the Zoom and then we'll do the next show. You should be okay now.
Yeah, no, it didn't work. So.
All right. All right. We'll work on that. I'm stupid when it comes to Zoom. There's so many different things and aspects that Zoom does. Um, I don't
I
even
tell
know.
you, it's a wonderful program,
It
and
is
it
a great
allows you
program.
to
It is a
do
great
so
program.
many things.
It is a great program, but I mean, I'm at share screen. I went to the other part of it, and I think that what happens is after you start, uh, I can't
One,
even. I'm
one,
trying to get chat to work. I can't even get chat to work on the side.
one of the things that I had to do is I had to actually go to Google and go to zoom.com
Yep.
and open it up that way, because when I open it up from what I had saved in my computer, it doesn't show the three dots down here that I need to actually go live.
Right. What? Yeah. The thing is, well, it's actually Zoom.us.
Is that
And yeah, Zoom.us, and you find it from Google. And of course, then you go in there and you log in and you get all your stats. That's what I just did. But it's still, I think what happens is when Zoom starts, this is just my own opinion. When Zoom starts, whatever the settings are at that time is for that conversation. You can't make on the fly things. So when you start the
oh,
next Zoom one, it should automatically take the new settings
right. I see, I
and
see,
save
I
them
see,
and then
I see.
implement them in your new Zoom. So that's kind of the way I see it set up. But we can still talk about it and we can still get people on that video to where you're looking for. And by the next Zoom call, which will be next week if you want, or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. That'd be perfect.
If you want to do this with continuancy, just you can do every week. That's fine. Um, I have no problem with this time. This time perfect for me. And
Me too.
oh, good, good, good. And like I said, other people, if they have a problem with this time, they can either listen to us, which many of them are, or they can view us right on Facebook. So a lot of the questions I can get from there, comments and things there, and then we're working on the chat here. So we're trying to work on that and make sure that works. But I have to enable the chat to work. uh, there you go. But we're going to get ready to start in a couple of minutes, about 4 minutes. I tell you, Guy, it's a pleasure talking to you every time I talk to you. I learn so much every time I talk to you, and you can't consider a day wasted if you learn.
Right. Knowledge is power. And
Knowledge.
when I first started doing this, I put the lawsuit packages together. I came from selling one document at a time, then the needing four documents, and now I just put the whole package together. And you're doing well raising your kids when they're smarter than you.
Oh yeah.
So my son told me, my oldest son told me, Dad, you should start YouTube, because you can make a few extra $1,000s a month. And well, I said, sure, that's more than what I have right now. So I started, and then I learned after about 4 or 5 months that that YouTube creators, once you qualified to host ads on your site,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll be looking at anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 a month.
Well, let me explain something to you there. That's great. That's great if you can get there. but our new website, it's also monetized. So the thing is, everybody that goes and watches your video, pays to watch your video, you'll get paid automatically. There's no certain amount of people. Of course, the more amount of people, you get money for it. You see, we broke it up so you don't have to have millions and millions of listeners. You don't have to have thousands of visitors. You have only a few hundred. You're going to make money. That's the
Nice.
way we look at it, because we're like, we're still growing, and by us doing that, we're enabling not only the viewer to get the knowledge from you, but now we're getting you incentive to get people to the video and get people to the website and get people to watch the video, because now you're more motivated to get people to do it and go, oh, look at this. This is great. I've had couple hundred people. Now I've got a couple thousand people. Now you take that and you introduce, of course, to YouTube. You keep staying on YouTube and you keep doing that. So you're implementing both. So you have two ways of making money.
So
one, you're going to make it no matter what. The other one, you're still not sure until you get to that certain point. But at least you're getting close and you're still making money at the same time. So I love that whole concept.
So my plan is to use the income generated from the ads to support the business.
Absolutely.
Just think, I'd be able to drop my prices down much lower.
Absolutely.
To make sure that anybody never gets turned away that needs to fight.
Yep.
And I could help piss off a lot of attorneys.
And and Guy, that's the best part too, because there's nothing in the world that I want to do more than piss off some of these lawyers, judges, banks. And, I have a tremendous amount of hatred for them. I have no respect, zero respect for them, the way they treat people, zero respect for the way they treated me and my wife, zero respect for the way they throw people out of their homes, no matter what. And, whether it comes to property taxes, the hidden things that we don't know or hear, there you go again. So let's get started.
Well, that zero respect thing, that's why I'm here, because they treated me like I was stupid too. And it pissed me off.
Let's talk about that. Let's actually talk about that, because I'm going to record this right now. So we're going to record it right now. I don't know what you want to call the show either, guys. So I'm still unsure of that, but we can call it anything you want. Guys, a time with Guy, neighbors, foreclosure talk, whatever you want to call it. Just let me know, and then I'll put a moniker on it, and we'll put a title on it. And
okay, cool.
You'll do that. But let's start, because we're now broadcasting live on Hamilton Radio. We're on channel 1 for our listeners. I have Guy Neighbors with me, and Guy is a great person going to talk about property taxes today. And welcome, Guy, to the show.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. Gene, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to people that are interested in listening to me.
It's my pleasure. So let's dive in. We were talking earlier about that information about, and you said, this is why I hate. What do you hate about that?
Well, I was treated with such disrespect. I've been through, I specialize in foreclosure defense, and I face what people are going through right now. And I was treated with such disrespect in court, it pissed me off. And that's what has driven me to where I am right now. Mm-hmm. And I have a dislike, and I'm trying to pick a nice word for attorneys and what they're doing to people. And I decided to step up and do something about it. And that's what I'm doing here now.
Well, I love the fact that that's what you're doing. So let's get right to it. Let's get to the meat of the thing. Let's talk about the property taxes. Let's find out why, number one, why we have to pay them.
Well, let's start out with how the property tax initiates.
Yeah, do that. That's fine.
Okay, because to me, that's the best way for people to understand. The property tax initiates, the property tax is started once your deed is registered in the county recorder's office or the tax assessor's office or whatever. Okay, once your deed is registered in that office, that's when the property tax starts, to zoning, coding, enforcement, and all those headaches start from your deed being registered in their office. Now, the long and the short of it is, I have not seen a statute or a law that forces you to put your property deed to register it in their office. So if there's no law that says you have to register your deed in their office, then I would formally request it back. And if they refuse, drag them in federal court with a lawsuit. Because now this is the long and the short of it. There's no law that says you have to put your deed in their office, but they convince you that it needs to be there, or however the process, and believe me, I went through the same thing and I had no idea. So once they get your deed put in their office, then all this stuff starts. So if you refuse to put your deed in office or demand to have it back, the first thing they're going to tell you, well, wait, your property tax, and well, you know what? That's not your problem. That's not your problem.
But
You
making
want
you
your
feel
deed
guilty
back, so
is
you
probably
put
what
it in
they
your
do.
Bible.
Yeah.
That's where we used to keep our deed. Everybody got it notarized and it was kept in the Bible. It was simple. And if anyone wanted to challenge your property, they'd have to come up with a property deed that was notarized prior to yours. That was it. But now we have to store the deed in the county recorder's office. And people have no idea. I have 5 or 6 members in my private Facebook page who are facing foreclosure right now, and they have proof that they have the deed release and everything, but they're in foreclosure. So we're like, so how the hell, how does that happen?
That's right.
Well, what happens is these attorneys go to the county recorder's office where your property information is stored. They get your information and they put your information on their fake assignment and file it against your property. They know that 80% of Americans can't afford attorneys, and 52% of us, probably much higher now, are struggling from, one emergency away from struggling. So they know the odds are in their favor that you're not going to be able to do anything in time to help. Well, those odds are changing now. And this whole property tax thing, okay, I got started on because I had several families that were facing a tax lien foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend of mine telling me that I should do this because he knows what I do. And I put it off. And then finally I had to do it. And I was just shocked at what I found. According to the Constitution, there's 2 kinds of taxes. There's direct and indirect. The Constitution mandates that direct taxes are prohibited. Direct taxes are taxes on stuff that you already own. They're prohibited, short of circumstances of war or something like that. And if that was the case, the taxes would be equally apportioned. But that's not what they're doing. So people need to understand, and this property tax package, eliminate property tax package that I put together is new. And I'm not quite as up on it as I am with the foreclosure stuff. So I just want to tell you up front, a lot of the states have different places, county assessor's office or the county registrar's office or whatever, where you have to file it. What I provide for you is the tools, and then you have to do the work and figure out where it's filed. And what I do is I use our private Facebook page as a way to communicate. So all the members, we can communicate in the page about what's going on with the lawsuit document, how the attorneys, and this has allowed me to make changes and adjust the documents and to make them give them provided strength that you need to get their attention. And it also closes the door and screws the door shut on these defenses for people in other states. So if I have people from California call and we add something to it, then I let everybody in the group know. And then if you need that additional addendum that we've added to it, then you would have to send me a private message or email something to make it easy for me so I don't have to stop and look up everybody's email address and all that. And then I would send that information out to you so that everybody has, and this is a great system. it can be a little troubling. At one point, I made 3 changes in the same document in a week and a half. And so the people that was preparing that document to file in court were like trying to pull my hair out. But as you can see, I don't have 2 months. So
Yeah,
it was a little complicated,
I know the feeling.
but they understood. And I tell them, you can file it like that if you want to, and people understand. But to get back to the property tax thing, so the Constitution mandates that you can't charge indirect tax, and you can go and pull it up and read it. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. And so that's the basis of the whole situation. At the end of the day, and I want to tell you what the title of the lawsuit that I have put together. At the end of the day, you're going to be going after them for $5.5 million. You'll have your $5.5 million claim for a violation of the Constitution, 18 U.S.C. 241, 18 U.S.C. Code Section 242, deprivation of rights under the color of law, conspiracy against rights, racketeering, and the violation of the IRS code. Because the way they're doing things, there's no place for them to put all this money that they're getting illegally in the right place. And that's my opinion.
Wow, that's that's a lot of stuff right there. The fact I like that what you're doing is you're giving the people the opportunity not only to see how you fixed it or how you dealt with the issues of property taxes, but you're making them work to get their end result. I love the fact that you got them involved in that. And you're not just doing it for them, but you're showing them this is what you need to do.
And you know what? That is the difference between what I do and what attorneys do. Okay, attorneys aren't going to share anything with you because they want to be in control of it. I mean, if you're paying me $250 or $300 or $400 an hour, I'm not going to be in a very big hurry to get anything done.
You're right about that. Yeah.
I mean, it's just human nature, But when you add on top of that they're not going to go after the person that's injuring you, then it's a problem. So what I do is I like to provide the tools and let you guys go do the work, because at the end of the day, and people don't realize this, at the end of the day, when you go to file your paperwork, the clerk's going to be picking your brain to see if you know what the hell you're doing. They're going to take your stuff and they're going to go in the back room, and then they're going to be back there for a little while, like maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then they're going to come back with 2 of them because the supervisor's coming back. And then they're going to have some problems that they're going to try to stick in your face to prevent you from filing your stuff. And usually what I tell people when they're giving you a hard time by filing your stuff, first of all, there is a statute for each state, a filing requirement statute for each state. And I tell people, look that statute up and add it right under the comes down, blah, 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 to kick your butt, bam, and add that in there so that they can see it in the very top. And then when you get there and they give you a hard time, hey, I've included the statute right there and I didn't see none of what you're talking about in there. Could you direct me where that is? Oh, that's in the local rules. Well, the local rules aren't for me, they're for attorneys. And the local rules are designed to speed things up through court. And anytime things are getting sped up in court, my butt's getting shaved. So that's the way that goes. Well, what you want to do is you want to ask the clerk, the supervisor of the clerk, if they have authority to make a legal determination on your document. Now, before you ask that, you want to flip out your little notepad. The notepad that the popo uses when they have to come to your house the second time.
Yeah.
And they want to know who they're talking to. So you want to flip out your notepad.
All right.
And ask what the supervisor and the other, write these people's names down. You have to make them understand
Accountable for what they're doing. Yeah.
That you're not the normal person. And that, and I tell people all the time, you need to refer to your legal team. My legal team said that, that this is filed within the filing requirements for my state, and actually put the requirements right there. So I don't understand what the problem is. My legal team, and that just you want to mess with their head just like they've been doing to you. And when they see your paperwork, they're going to be going, I had a lady tell me one day the judge and the attorney yelled at her, and they wanted to know what law firm was helping her. Because when she walked out laughing, what she did was she was in a judicial foreclosure hearing, and she was really nervous. So I told her, look, just go in there, and when they start talking, when the other attorney starts running his mouth, object, because the attorney's not able, can't testify anyway, and they don't
Right.
have. I said, object. And she said, well, when they get done laughing, why am I objecting? Well, you're objecting because they don't have a witness, and without in a judicial foreclosure, the number one problem, without a witness,
Right.
there's no jurisdiction. There's nobody to provide jurisdiction to the court. So that's what she told them. And the judge looked over at the attorney, and she said, they asked the attorney if he had a witness. Because the attorney is like looking at the judge like, what the hell? You know, I don't know, damn witness, you know. And he said no. And the judge continued the hearing and told the attorney that he was going to continue the hearing until he came out with a witness. And she never called me back. So I don't, you know, Gene, I have people always ask me all the time, well, how many have you won? And I need the case law and all that. You know, I don't have time for all that. What I will tell you is, and most people know this, when these attorneys get backed up against a wall and they have to like straighten up, they're going to make you sign something saying that you're not going to stink and discuss this with anybody. The disclosure statement. That's what they make you sign.
Right.
So if you know, on my Google review page, I have a wonderful review from a lady named Sarah something or other about the property tax. I mean, it's like this long, and she just, you know, I called her a few months after she, you know, posted that review, and she told me she couldn't talk about it.
So
but then she told me she loved me, but she couldn't talk about it.
So in a case like that, just saying that example, if they're sworn not to say anything, how do they continue on? That's why the attorneys they intimidate and fear.
Well, this was a property tax issue, and I don't know if they continued on or not. I'm thinking they must have settled to figure something out or something. I don't know. I know she was still happy. I got a really nice review, and she can't talk about it.
Wow.
So that's, you know, and that's not the first time that's come up. But, you know, for me, I enjoy working with people that are willing to do whatever it takes. And for people who are dragged their feet and waiting to see who won and all that, well, it's not about winning, because the judge is not going to say, hey, here's you get everything. That's not the way this goes. Oh, hell no.
You're right.
It's about learning how to stay the hell in the ring and keep getting your punches in and setting yourself up for your lawsuit and for your appeal and your lawsuit. Now, people don't understand that at the end of the road, it's in a foreclosure situation. It's not going to be about whether you paid or not. It's not going to be about whether they took your signature and created that loan that they're trying to say was. It's not going to be about any of that. What it's going to be about is you holding that judge liable for illegally booting you out of court. That's what it's going to be about. And, you know, I have a whole inventory of documents to handle those things. I don't really talk about them a lot, because when people first call me, hey, advocates of justice, paralegal, sir, this is a big giant black guy, and I'm going to help you beat up the judge, people will be freaking out, you know. But at the end of the day, when they find out the judge is actually the one that's blocking them from getting in court by using BS cases to throw them out and help the attorney, now things have changed. And the judge puts his pants on one leg at a time, unless he lays down on the floor like a sissy.
And, you know, it depends on how you, it's like you said, but like boxing, you know, it's almost where, you know, person comes at the punch, person avoids the punch, person then throws a punch themselves, the other person avoids. It's like that type of communal thing where, you know, it's your turn, my turn, your turn, but guess what? I'm going to get in the last punch.
Well, you know what I do, Gene, is I teach people how to block them from moving forward in court.
Good.
I'm just thinking about that. That's the easy way to put it. Now, I had one guy say, well, I don't have time to just, well, then you probably should pack, because the judge is not going to give you anything.
Right. You're right. See,
so it's like chess. Yeah, it's like chess. So they file something, then we're gonna file something to block them and force them to do some other stuff they don't want to do. And then yeah. But we have a program now set up. So one of the main things that we do when we add the attorney to your lawsuit and your foreclosure lawsuit as an M1 defendant.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, in my opinion, the biggest mistake that most people make. They don't have their attorney on their lawsuit anyplace. And if they look at that petition, it's only signed by the attorney. So these are one of the other things that BS things that people believe that, from attorneys telling you, oh, the lender's coming after you. No, it's not the lender. It's the attorney coming after you because the lender has not signed that document anyplace. And the lender has charged it off of their books and
The free and
claimed
clear.
it on the
Free and clear. Yeah.
right,
Right.
right.
Yep.
So it's the attorney. Now, when you list the attorney as an M1 defendant and the law firm as a second defendant and the third and the last servicer as third, and that's it. All those other people they put on there are put on there just to muddy the waters, in my opinion, okay, and to make things complicated for you. You leave those three people. Now you force the attorney to have to protect the servicer where he got or she got the unlawful debt collection.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the best way to go. And now the attorney can't litigate a case they're party to. They can't represent themselves in court. And now they have to hire outside counsel because they can't represent the law firm because that would be considered pro se representation. And now they have to hire outside counsel. And that's a problem because the outside counsel, once the outside counsel finds out that you're claiming in your $5.5 million claim that the attorney is illegally foreclosing on your property as a third-party debt collector, it's a problem because the attorneys, the outside counsel, are doing the same crap. So now you got them in and boxed in the corner. And the judge is going to have to either dismiss it or let the attorneys represent themselves in the law firm. And well, when that happens, then you whip out your demand to strike the attorney's notice of appearance, which is included in the 16 documents, and you slap that in their face because the attorney can't represent himself. And if the judge ignores you, then you file your motion to recuse. You file your motion for reconsideration, and then your motion to recuse the judge, and then you have a notice of claim. And notice of claim is actually the claim. If you need to file the claim, you just take notice off, and it is the claim, because that's the way I do things. I want them to see everything so they can make decisions before we have to go to court, because we ain't trying to go to court.
Well, right now with COVID, though, a lot of courts aren't open. And, how do you deal with people saying, oh, I'm not going to worry about it because the courts aren't open, but they still got a foreclosure going? What do you say to them?
Well, the way I see it, and I dropped the price of my lawsuit package from $850 to $500 when this all started. I ran a business before, it's a delivery service back when 9/11 happened, and I didn't make changes to my business at that time quick enough, and yeah, it was not good. But now I made the changes early because of my experience, but mainly because I know people are going to be struggling. Now, at some point I could charge $200 for the lawsuit package. If I reached all of the people that's struggling, I'll be cheesing.
Yeah, right.
So, but for the people who drag their feet, I just, and no offense, because some people have legitimate reasons for dragging their feet, and it all comes down to the income situation, or do we do that, or do we eat? Do we, and believe me, I get it. But at the end of the day, the people that step up now are going to be in the best position when all the smoke clears,
right?
Because you will be in a position to start stalling in court and taking up their time. You have to cost them time and money. And when you do that is when you get the best results, because they have a time frame when your case starts and all this stuff that they have to be doing all these things along the way, getting you closer to being able to boot you out the back door. And when you mess that up for them, it's a problem. And so that's what we do. And as soon as the judge violates you, or whoever, the clerk or whatever. In one case, Shamel Maxwell, she actually mailed her her dad's documents into the court. No, she mailed them to the post office.
Right.
This is what the protocol was. And the guy picked them up from the post office or whatever, signed for them. I told her, make sure that they sign for it. And it's a good thing that she did, because in 3 days, they said they sold her dad's property. Well, they didn't have her documents on the record. So she asked them where a document was. And they said they got lost. And the same day of the sale, they found the documents. Well, we already had a document that she filed amending her lawsuit, adding that person who signed to her lawsuit as a fourth defendant, because that person has a responsibility to make sure that her documents got filed, or at least dated the date that he picked them up. And when she did that, it messed up their whole plan, boy. They was, yeah. And her dad's still in his house. They stopped the sale. She filed a document that the online course students will have access to, the jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit. Mm-hmm. She filed that in state court and just blew the whole case up. And the judge was trying to make a ruling on it, but he was too late, because once she reopened that case, she immediately moved it over to federal court, connected it with her title dispute in federal court. Because think about it now, federal court trumps state court. So when you file in federal court, you can use that to control, which is what I teach people how to do.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, because, you know, anybody that wants to bring out a lawsuit that, say, lost their homes or something like that, they can go back in and now take it to federal court. Even though something has been done, you can reopen the case, like you said.
Yep, absolutely. And jurisdiction is all that I challenge. I don't talk about all that other stuff. I don't talk about, there are so many jurisdictional defects in most people's cases. In most cases, there's at least 2 or 3. Not counting what happened at signing and all that stuff. I'm talking about jurisdiction defects on the conventional side in their program. And I have a list of them that I use, and I have it posted on my website. And I actually have them posted in a couple of the videos challenging jurisdiction. So if you go to my YouTube channel and check out the videos challenging jurisdiction, you'll be able to see those defects that exist in most people's cases. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get free information, because that's what I do. I put the free information out there, and if you can take that information and do what you need to do to defend your property, then there you go. If you need help, we can help you there with a couple of different options. So.
And I love that. And we still got that PDF file if anybody's interested. That's at admin@hamiltonradio.net. We're asking for $10. And then I'll send it to you right away. I sent a couple last week. So we're trying to get some more. You guys interested? You send it to me, admin@hamiltonradio.net, and I'll be glad to send it to you. Of course, I'm going to be trying to share some of the money, of course, with Guy to help him, you know, with his businesses and stuff too. So, and then if we get enough money, we're going to share it with the homeless, so the homeless can have some extra money out of that too. But Guy, I wanted to ask you, that's with the property taxes and foreclosures, the real hard problem I see is every state has got its own judicial or non-judicial information. And I think that those are a lot of confusion into people. When people give advice, I know from the past, when people give me advice from certain areas, they're looking at it from their area, not the whole 50 United States. And I think that's a big problem, because if everything was united as one, all the laws were the same from this state to that state, there would be no problem, because whatever you dictate to this state matters in this state. So how do you feel about that?
Well, you know, that can be a problem if you're in state court, but if you're in federal court, then that's not a problem. And that's where we go. Now, I have made stuff to file in state court, you know, to control that whole situation.
Yep.
I want you guys to say hi to my buddy.
Hey, how are you?
This is Portia.
Hi, Portia.
Can you see yourself right there?
Hey, Portia. So cute. Aw.
She's the boss around here.
Yeah.
Or at least she thinks she is. Sometimes she likes to help me type stuff. She'll get up here and put her paws on the keyboard and start typing stuff.
Oh, that's cute.
She
What kind of
likes to
dog
look
is
at
that?
herself in the bigger picture. She's not real happy with the tiny, tiny picture.
What kind of dog is that?
Golden Doodle. My
Okay.
daughter raises them in Florida.
Oh, nice.
Well, I usually go down and help her train them when they get big enough to where they have to be let outside a couple times a day.
Right, right.
And she had a heart murmur, so they couldn't send her to another home. So we agreed to adopt her and take her back to be pimped out if they're when they're ready.
Oh, she's too easy. I mean, how do you not love that dog?
Yeah, she's smarter than me. I ain't even gonna lie. So that's how we get around that, Gene. Now, the stuff that I have structured that gets filed in state court also has federal court case law in it, and they
Okay.
hate it. They hate it. But think about it. Think about it. It's a higher court. There's no difference between using that federal case law and as there are using Supreme Court case law in any other
So,
courts.
so you recommend to everybody just go to federal court and don't worry about the state too much.
That's what I would do.
That's what you have.
And the reason is because the state court players all look after each other. And you can get, and that includes the judge. Okay. Once you move it to it should be, in my opinion, it should be in federal court anyway, because the real estate laws are federal.
Well, most mortgages are owned by the FHA, or I mean, technically. So this should be a federal court case, no matter what. You're right. I totally agree with that.
And
So
you know what? So one of the things that they try to do is like they try to kick you out of federal court. I had a lady was telling me yesterday, oh, the judge, said that, he's not sure that that court has jurisdiction, or whatever. And so I messaged her back and I said, well, just I would call the clerk and tell the clerk, because you don't want to be in a hearing. You don't want to be in a hearing. So I told her I'd call the clerk and I let the clerk know that the main reason why the federal court has jurisdiction is because the case should have been filed in federal court in the first place. It should not have been filed in state court. And she said, oh, no. I was like, no, let me finish. The reason it shouldn't be filed in state court is because the attorney is considered a foreign agent. And as a foreign agent is from another country, they have to file their stuff in federal court.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that the attorney is considered a foreign agent. I thought
Yes.
he was considered.
And one of the things that you can do if you want to make their life miserable is look up FARA, FARA, the Foreign Agent Registration Act. It's actually a federal law. And when it comes to law, to me, if it's not enacted, it's not a law. So when someone says it's a law, the first thing I'm checking to see if it's enacted. Is there an enacting clause? Does it have a title? Does it have a body? And yes, it does. And the federal law was enacted, and that the Foreign Agent Registration Act, these attorneys are supposed to register with the Justice Department, and they're supposed to disclose who they're working for, what they're making, all of these things, and they never do. And people tell them, well, I brought that up in court and the judge didn't care. I'm like, dude, the judge is one of them. The judge is not going to, what you need to do is I have people call them up, and this is harassment attorney 101. I'm gonna have to add this to my course because I didn't think to put this in the course. So I'm going to add this to the course. Harassment attorney 101. You want to call them up and tell them that you want to schedule a time where you can drive down to their office and review their foreign agent registration statement documentation. Because according to the federal law, if that paperwork is not filled out, then they're not legal. And I need to know if it is or not, obviously, yeah, just give them. I tell people to make a script, a 2 or 3 minute script from your lawsuit document, of the things that you want to ask for. I think it's on page 17 of the lawsuit document. I go into the actual bank's accounting records. I actually list them. One of them is like the 1099 FR or something or other. These are the bank's accounting records that will verify that your alleged loan was always an asset for the bank. That's the first thing I'd ask them for. Write that stuff down and make a little script, because the first time you call them, you may get to talk to the attorney. But after that, you're going to get the gatekeeper, and the gatekeeper is going to send you straight up to the voicemail. So
Yeah.
you just fill up the voicemail. As long as that stinking voicemail will go, I would fill it all the way up and ask them for all kind of stuff, because people think that the judge is the one running the show in court. Those people get hosed. It's not the judge. The attorneys are the ones running the show. Before it gets to court, they've already decided how they're going to throw your butt under the bus. So
I'll,
you want to spend your time convincing that attorney that you're going to be a really big pain in his or her butt.
I think that's great. I mean, from what I see that what you're talking about, and we'll get back to the property taxes in a minute, but from what you're talking about, so as people understand, you have to learn to be your own defense shield. You really do. I mean, and you have to call their bluff, because a lot of it is what you're saying is, if they're not even registered as a foreign agent or an attorney to go after you, you can get them on that alone, and they may bluff and get out of the case because they don't want to deal. Rather than deal with you or deal with anybody, they'll just pull back and go, you know what, I'll get somebody else involved. And if that person don't want to get involved, then, like you said, you have to throw as many darts as you can to see if you can hit the target. If you're not throwing darts, or whatever you're doing, however you look at it, if you're not throwing darts, just to say, you can't win. I mean, it's not even winning. It's almost about, like you said, just put it into play where, all right, what's your next point? What are you going to do next? And if you get them at that point, right? If you get them at that point, it doesn't matter, because they, like you said, if the judges go away, or the lawyer goes like, I can't file with that judge. What am I going to do with that judge? I can't file with that judge. I'm not, and you give them like, what do I do? They'll just walk away from the case. They won't even say anything.
And people don't realize this. The attorney's problem is this. They have so many people that give up and walk away. They don't have time to screw with you screaming and scratching.
Right. That's exactly right. So with COVID and stuff like that, being that the courts aren't in session, and you were talking about other things. So how's a person file anything? Now they're saying the mail is not even working correctly. And a lot of the courts, I know, because it took almost 3 months for my mother-in-law to get the county surrogate to get back to us, let alone give us the paperwork, the short certificates after they pass away, so you can, do whatever you have to do with the companies that you're trying to agree with, and say, okay, we're satisfied with this, we're satisfied with that, and then walk away, sell the home or whatever. The point is, if all this is going on right now, how do people deal with not being able to get the mail to the courthouse, not being able to go to the courthouse yourself? What is your opinion on that?
Well,
just let it play out.
You're able to mail your stuff in, but I haven't seen any situations where what I think is going to happen eventually is happening already. Where everything gets lifted and then they start moving on you really fast and you don't have time to get into court. So when people get in my program, so we have a couple of things we do. Number one, we go in with our jurisdictional challenges, blow up the state court case altogether, and then file your case in federal court. So, you're kind of getting around that. But we were talking about the attorneys and stuff a little while ago. So I have a document in my lawsuit package. It's called a motion for sanctions, and people don't realize that attorneys are supposed to do a reasonable pre-file investigation before they file these lawsuits and do all this stuff in court, and they never do. They never do. And you can also use this motion for sanctions when their attorney continues harassing you after you've proven that his claim is baseless. And this claim is for $3.5 million, and you're filing it inside of your $5.5 million claim. So it's like a little claim inside of a big claim. And oh my God, they get so pissed off. And it causes the attorneys have to hire other attorneys. Oh yeah, it's and your argument, I like to keep it simple. When you use the sanction motion, your argument is simple. Had they done a reasonable pre-filing investigation, they would have uncovered all of the stuff that I have here in the lawsuit that I'm sticking in their face.
Just baffle them with bullshit and do the same thing they're doing basically. But you're telling them facts. You're saying, listen, you're not a registered foreign agent. You're not this. You're not that. And then you're showing them, and then you're letting the court see that when you file that, now that's in public view.
Yep.
So get back to the
And
property taxes too when you're done.
yeah, so the property tax situation. I have a guy in the group that filed the. So most people are kind of embarrassed about the property tax situation. I'm just going to throw it out, and I'm sure people feel the same way about the foreclosure. And so they're not really wanting to be real open about everything and post it on social media, and I understand that. And but the fact of the matter is, I had a guy in the group who didn't care. He posted his stuff, and he's keeping everybody in the group up on everything. So he sent them the notice of claim letter because the package is set up to send the notice of claim letter. And the notice of claim letter is actually, it's pretty much the claim, but it's written a little bit different, but the information is in there. And they emailed him and told him that, he's entitled to his opinion. Then they sent him a letter saying that they didn't agree and they were, by law can collect taxes according to the Constitution, which was true, but they weren't collecting them according to the Constitution.
Right.
And then he said the third day they had a city truck drove in front of his house and parked. It looked like it was parked on a levee across the street or something, and was like watching his house or something. And he actually video recorded it and posted it on our Facebook page. It was pretty cool. About 2 weeks later, he posted a document that's still on our page showing that the city had reduced his taxes from $46,000 to like $26,000 or $22,000 or something, which was interesting. But he said he's still going to file his lawsuit, so we're kind of waiting to see how that goes. I have been trying to work close with people who use this package because it's very new, and I want to see how they respond to it so that I can make sure that I'm following up with whatever documents we need to help us reach the goal that we're using the package for. So, and that's what the Facebook group comes in handy with. But if people doesn't really want to talk about it, then it's nothing I can do, as long as they leave me a good review, right?
Yeah. See, the thing is, it's sometimes, as you know, and I've told my wife this many times, anything that's considered a moral issue, morally obligated, you feel morally obligated, that's a control issue. And if it's a control issue, it goes far back. You're never going to change. It's
yeah.
Do you understand or you don't understand type of thing? There's illegal stuff going on. There's nasty stuff going on. And if either you understand or you don't understand it. And again, I understand what you're saying about, people, how they get confused and get nervous. Oh no, I don't want to get involved in that. Well, that's fine. But the people that do want to get involved in, the people that know how to do or want to know how to do it, you can show them.
And one of the things that that I tell people is, first thing people say, well, schools are funded by, well, some of the funding does go to schools, but it's actually unconstitutional to use property taxes as a way to fund the schools, because in the poor neighborhoods, they wouldn't get anything.
Guy, that's the other thing I want to ask you. How did we get here like this? I mean, listen, this is such a crazy subject, but at the same time, it hits everybody where everybody lives. You just said property taxes are unconstitutional, but yet we still have to pay them. That's what we're told.
No, they're unconstitutional, and we're still paying them.
Just because like the IRS
you don't have to if you understand that it's illegal and you're doing it from consent. And you know what, Dean? I'm just going to throw it on the table here. So this research into the research that I've done and how things start pointed me to, and this is the new document that I'm going to be working on at some point in time, which would be a lawsuit for real estate deed fraud. Now, I don't like to use the word fraud because you have to, you have to have seven
Yeah.
elements and you got to link those with all this other stuff. But with this, I'm going to, because it's going to be very easy to prove. So the real estate deed fraud problem comes in. The real estate deed laws in most states mandate that that deed is supposed to be delivered to the guarantor, to the owner of the property, or whatever you want to call them. That deed is supposed to be delivered. They never deliver the deed. They do what they call the constructive delivery, and they file the deed and they register the deed in the county recorder's office. That is a violation of the real estate deed law. Plain and clear. But people don't know. So when you throw that on the table, whoever it was that signed to put your property deed in the county recorder's register's office, whatever attorney working for the title company or whatever, that's who I put as the number one defendant. And then the county recorder's office or the state or whatever, and just kind of figure that out. You're going to have to figure that out on your own. What parties are the ones responsible for this starting? So you're going to do some homework, but I think it'll be well worth the homework to do, because they had no defense to deny giving you back your deed. Now, I had one guy tell me that what he did when he got his property tax off the tax roll, and I decided to go a different route than that, because that works for a year or so. Then they just put it back on there and start charging you again, and you don't have control of your deed. So I decided to do what I'm doing, and it's more of a direct way, because I don't really like to go around the long way around. This guy told me that once they removed this property from the tax roll, they sent him a inventory of what they were going to charge him if the police had to come to his house, and what they were going to charge him if the fire department is going to have to come to his house. And he was out in the country, so he didn't have a sewer. And of course, his comment was, "Well, I've never had to call the police. My house never caught on fire, so I would rather pay for those services when I need them instead of every freaking day." Now, at the end of the road, you can still pay them if you want to, or you feel you're morally obligated to, and have control of your deed, so they can't come on your property and start telling you what to do and to mow your grass and to do all this stuff. It's, and the school, you can still donate money. I mean, you don't have to, like, you can do it however you want to. People have options, and people aren't used to that. If you're willing to do whatever it takes, you have options.
Yeah, I think you go into a lot of deep stuff right there that most people, I'd be honest with you, most people don't want to dive into it. Like you said, it takes a strong person to do it, but it can be done.
Well, I think people will find out at some point in time that these people that are doing this illegal stuff, they're not excited about a bunch of attention and being on it. And I'll tell you right now, judges aren't excited about making a ruling on anything that you get from me and file in court, because if it becomes case law, then people know how to attack the attorneys and the banks, and now the judge is going to be getting jammed up, because he's not going to be getting like the free cars or campaign contributions or
Right.
the summer home, or I don't know. They get something for throwing people on the bus like they're doing. I don't know what it is, but I know they're getting something.
Right. And they live with themselves. See, that's the thing. I can't see anybody. See, if I was mayor of this town, I would first look at, okay, why are people paying property taxes? That's just what you said. Why are they paying property taxes? Let's dig deep, get people to dig deep. I know I'd get a lot of pushback. Because you're creating, like you just said, you're creating something that nobody's ever touched. Why? Because they just decided to play along the game. Now you have a player that comes in, not a typical politician, different person, different business person, coming from a different aspect of life, saying, wait a minute, why are we doing this? We want to know. And then when you get deeper and deeper in it, then you start seeing the aspects you just said. Okay, well, we're going to charge you. We're the state. We're going to charge you for this because we don't charge you for this because you get the money through property taxes. We're going to charge. So it's always intimidation and it's always fear. And that's how they control the people. That's how they control the people that are in office. That's how they control the people that are paying the property taxes. That's how they control the people that are paying the mortgages. It's always fear and intimidation. So take that out of the scenario. Like you said, bring light to that. Now we have a different ball game. Nobody wants to do what you said. No judge wants to say, oh, well, property taxes are necessary for this reason. No person wants to get involved in that argument. They'll all walk away. But at least you're bringing it out to the public and making them think. At least the electorate is thinking, so wait a minute, what is this guy saying? No property taxes? Property taxes are what? And we've been paying them all this time?
So a $500 investment could give you a chance to get control of that.
Amazing.
Now,
Amazing.
how it works for you, it's going to be up to you. Because at the end of the day, with the intimidation and the fear and all that gets put in there, and then some people get scared, go sit down or whatever, and that's all fine and dandy. But don't be trying to give me a bad review because somebody went to go sit down.
So do you want to talk any more about property taxes, or do you want to take some phone calls?
No, let's take a few phone calls.
Okay. Let me put the number out there. I'm just going to give it to this guy first because he really wanted to talk to you last time. Let me see what it is. Okay. All right, he's going to call in, and then I'm going to give the number out to everybody else because I try to do what's fair. The people that tried to get in touch with you last time couldn't, for whatever reason. So I'm giving it to that person, and then I'm going to put the number out to the gentleman.
I'm gonna go get some more water.
Go ahead.
I'll be right back.
All right, go ahead. All right, people, listen, we're waiting for the phone calls. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions to Guy on this property tax issue or foreclosures, now's the time to call. Now's the time to get involved with us here because this is what we do. This is what Hamilton Radio has done, been doing, and will keep doing into the future. As long as I'm involved, as long as I'm the owner, as long as I'm controlling everything, I am the one that is going to try to do things that other radio stations don't want to do, can't do, or are afraid to do. Because listen, fear and intimidation just makes me stronger. Fear and intimidation makes you a better person because you're not going to be scared. You're not going to be scared and you're not going to be intimidated. You're just as good as that other person. You're just as good as that other attorney or that other person that's doing what they're doing. And at the same time, you're realizing that most of the stuff that they're doing is just so they have money or they get benefits. So I tell everybody, question everything. I raise my two girls to question everything and don't go with the masses. All right, we got a phone call. Let's see who it is. Hello, who's on the line?
Hey, it's Tom.
Hey, Tom, how are you, buddy? A guy will be with us in a minute. Just want to get some water. How are you doing today?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing really great. Are you listening?
Yeah.
All right, great. I wanted to ask you, what do you think so far of this show?
It's good. What I really like about Guy is he thinks outside the box.
Absolutely. And he just joined this guy. I got Tom on the phone. Tom, do you have a question for Guy?
No, I don't really have a question. I've talked to Guy a lot.
Oh, okay.
I love he's getting some publicity here.
Okay, that's fine. You have any comments or suggestions for him?
Oh, there we are.
Tom?
Yeah.
Tom, you're listening to us on the loop in the playback. Do you have any questions for Guy or comments?
Yeah, not really. You're really good so far. I just need to keep getting the word out there because so many people don't know what the hell to do.
What do you feel about the property taxes? How do you feel about that morally?
Yeah, You know, I'm actually in a debate with my county right now, so I find it interesting. I might end up having to tell that on them because they're trying to give me a hard time, telling me I need to, comply, clean up the back of my yard and clean up around my pool and stuff. And I'm telling them, hey, if you guys will clean up the cloud title and get the forged documents out of the land, like I've been asking you for a couple of years, then I'll be happy to. I asked you first, and this might be a good thing to go after. Yeah, not only you're not cooperating with me, hell, I'll throw my property taxes away too.
Right. I don't know if you can hear him, Guy.
Yeah. I can hear him. I can hear him enough to understand what he's saying. And Tom, you're absolutely right. You throw that in their face, you're going to trump it, and now they're going to be looking at you not paying any tax at all and getting and going after them for the $5.5 million. I think that'll turn the table on them real quick.
Did you hear what he said, Tom?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Do you have any other questions other than property taxes or what?
At this time, I don't really have any other questions. I know, Guy, I've been following for a while, just like I've known you for a while, and I'm glad to see the publicity because, like I said, I know so many people that what the hell do they don't know, they don't know where to go.
Get them on the call. Get them on the call. Share the video. If they know Guy, we want people that they're telling, we want people to come on and say, listen, I've been working with Guy for a while. This has worked. And that's, we want people to just come on and tell us the truth.
Right.
Absolutely.
Correct. Right. So are you done, Tom? You want more time? Are you done?
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty much done. Hey, you're welcome, Guy.
We appreciate your
you
time.
guys.
We appreciate your time, Tom. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks.
Okay. While we're waiting for more calls, give your information again, Guy.
If you guys want to catch me on my email address, it's whenincourtnow. Actually, my website is whenincourtnow.com. My email address is whenincourts with an S, the number 1 at gmail.com. And my phone number is 913-240-0227.
Beautiful. All right. And we got to make sure that you're not, I thought I sent this to you, but I don't think you did.
And if you guys want to look me up, just punch in Advocates for Justice Paralegal Service, or just punch in my name, Guy Neighbors. I take up a couple of pages on Google. It's good stuff, though. I never been convicted of anything. So
that's good because again, if you dominate, like I'm an IT guy, so if you dominate a page, say 5, 6 of you, the first 5 or 6 is you, automatically it's a nod to you because you're beating the companies that are paying, you're beating companies that are people searching for other than you, and if you're coming up number 1, it's more credibility to you. See, that's what Google does. It gives you more credibility because if more people are searching for you, obviously that's the reason why you're up there.
Yeah, my son's a computer genius too.
See,
he's a computer engineer and he has a degree in computer programmer and a degree in engineering. And he was looking at one of my documents I had here a couple years ago, and he pulled it up and he said, "Wow, Dad, your document pulled up number 2." I was like, "Number 2?" He's like, "Yeah," and they're like 1 million and something people. I was like, "I'm number 2?" He's like, "Yeah, Dad, that's pretty badass." I'm like, "No, dude, number 2? Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Who the hell's in front of me?" He said, "Wikipedia." I was like, "Oh, I need to kick Wikipedia's butt."
No, but you're right. You always want to shoot for number 1, but you shoot for the stars, right? Wherever you end up, if you end up on the moon or something, you stumble.
I'll take being behind Wikipedia, but I'm just not used to being behind anybody.
Oh, I understand. It's all good because we're waiting for calls. By guys, if you want to call in, you can. It's 609-585-0400. 609-585-0400. If you have a testimonial or a comment or a suggestion for Guy, or you're just listening and you're like, wow, that's really blowing my mind, I want to hear your argument too. If you disagree with us, as far as something, please let us know. We take all callers. You know, if you're going to be loud or nasty or something like that, you're going to be shut off. I want you to know that. But if you're a person that really sees what we're trying to do, and Guy and I are, you know, working together on this, trying to save people's homes and, you know, stop them from paying unneeded taxes and stupid things like that. If you're on that same mindset, you know, we can change the whole world as a perspective. So,
Yeah, this property tax thing for me, Gene, it got started, like I think I mentioned it earlier, it got started because I had 3 families that were facing a tax lien foreclosure. And that's how, you know, so I get a lot of pushback too on Facebook on some of my videos and stuff, you know, well, tell people to pay their bills, and, you know, just people acting like that, you know. Well, I didn't create this so people could go and learn how to skate the system. Okay, that wasn't why I created
right,
it.
right,
I created it to help people who are facing being kicked out of their house because these attorneys are skating the system already.
right, right. No, totally agree.
And then the further I got down the rabbit hole, so to be honest, when I research on something to make a package, a legal document, I spend an unbelievable amount of time on it until I feel like I understand inside and out. You know, this side and this side, because there's 2 sides. Sometimes 3 sides. And when I started working on this property tax package, I actually spent more time on it than I usually do because it was so easy. I mean, it was like, okay, wait a minute. There's no law that says you have to put your register your deed in their office. So how the hell are they doing this? How are they doing this? And it was like, I'm like, okay, so let me, you know, and I posted on my Facebook page and also on my YouTube channel in the comment section. Hey, you find a statute that says that you have to file. I don't even want it to have an acting clause or not. Okay, we won't even get to that. Let's just stick to the basics. Part 1, you find a statute that mandates that you have to file your deed and register your deed in the county recorder's office. You show it to me. I'll give you a free lawsuit package.
It's not going to happen, you know that. No, I mean, see, you know how to play the game too, because you're one of the best players I've ever seen. There was another guy, I think, years ago, but he didn't have half of what you know. You know.
Well, like I said, you know, I was traumatized when I went through this and what my family's been through based off of the attorney's BS. And so that drove me to do what I'm doing. And I want to tell people I have ADD, so I think you know my brain's running 50 miles an hour sometimes on stuff. And,
me too. Honestly,
and that stuff, you know, it works out because it helps me see things. You know that. So I had a lady. Her name is B. She's in our group. She also was one of the first people to file the new lawsuit package. You know, that I put together, and it was about a year ago, maybe September, October of last year, and we talked for quite a while on the phone. And she actually wanted to pay because her husband had got a really good job, and she wanted to pay all the stuff that she owed. So I told her, I said, B, if you want to do that, okay, you need to make sure that they write you a new contract, saying that they're going to accept your payment and reinstate everything back to where it was. Otherwise, they could take your money and say you owed it to them for past rent and attorney fees or whatever, and continue the foreclosure. So she met with the attorney and she paid him, and he told her that he was going to stop the foreclosure or something to that effect. And 2 months later, she found out that her house had been sold, and she's in Texas. She found out that her house had been sold when the people showed up to change the locks on the doors. And yeah, so she called me, and her husband called me, and and he was really freaked out. And he didn't know that I was helping her. Well, the good thing about this situation is she had filed her lawsuit in federal court, but she hadn't served everybody. So the fact that she actually had a file date stamped on it before they did all that stuff,
that protects
saved her butt.
Yeah, that protects
And
her.
she went ahead and served everybody and completed the process. And of course, they try to dismiss it on the Route 12B or whatever. But when you go in and you challenge jurisdiction, they can't dismiss that under Rule 12B. The law states that once jurisdiction is challenged, it has to be proven on the record in order for the court to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So that trumps that little crap that they try to do. So then they started stalling, doing all this other stuff, and she's still in her house too.
That's awesome. That's really
so
great.
that's pretty cool. It's really cool to be able to make a difference. And I was talking to a couple, Ruben and Sarah from California, and Ruben had just completed the paperwork and stuff, and they called me like at 11:30 at night to ask me a couple of questions because they were going to file it in court the next day. And I was sitting next to my wife; she's playing on her phone, and I was talking to Ruben, and we were answering his questions, and he was really excited because they found me at the last minute, and they were about to lose in the eviction court.
Mm-hmm.
And be kicked out on the street. And so Sarah yelled in the background, "Guy Neighbors, I love you." And it actually made my eyes tear up. I was like, oh. And Ruben's like, yeah, that's Sarah. She's letting you know that she loves you. And I was like, oh. And my wife's like looking at me like, what the hell? I said, tell Sarah that I love her too, and that I'm really glad that I'm proud that I can help you guys, So we hung up the phone, and my wife's like, what in the hell? What the hell just happened here? I said, honey, all I got to say is Ruben's wife was yelling in the background and she loves me. So I'm thinking you might want to be really nice to me.
Did it work?
No, she just started laughing and said, I don't know why I get myself in these conversations with you, and walked off. Okay, so that didn't last very long.
That's okay.
But it's really cool to be able to make a difference in people's lives, and I love my job. I love my job for it.
You are doing it.
The other side of that is this is the therapy for me. Teaching people how to smack attorneys in the face is therapy for what I watched my family go through. And it's tough, as a man or a woman, it's tough not to be able to protect your spouse.
So what do you say for any people that are getting ready to become attorneys, to learn that they're going to be part of the con game, or they can be the attorney that fights the con game? What do you think about that?
Well, I think the only part about that I didn't like is the attorney part where
I mean,
but you're absolutely right, though. Yes. You're absolutely right. You can be part of it, or you can be the attorney that's stepping up to the plate, smacking somebody else in the face, holding some people accountable.
Right. And I think that's a big turnaround right there. If we can get more people, whether attorneys or not, then we get upset. But the thing is, if you're in a position to help homeowners deal with the problems like you're dealing with, say you had an attorney that you could work, just saying, had an attorney that you can work with that said, oh man, I'm working with Guy. Guy knows what he's doing. We're going to work together. We're going to save people's homes. Wouldn't that be a new thing for you? That would be like, oh, that would be awesome, right?
Well, no.
Yes and no, right?
No. I have no faith in attorneys, and I would not have them in my way. I tell people you can screw up your case yourself. You don't have to pay someone to do it.
That's true.
Because the attorney is not going to attack the other attorney who's actually the one coming after you.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because they're in the gang to look after each other, and they vow oath to look after each other. So they're not going to attack his brother in over there that's actually coming after you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the problem. So I don't, I tell people if you have an attorney, then I don't even want to sell you my stuff, because attorneys are not going to file my stuff, because
And they're going to question
they're not going to
everything.
challenge the jurisdiction.
Right.
They're not going to push the judge in the corner. They're not going to do any of that because of the way their system is structured. No, they need that judge in their corner to help them throw people under the bus without having to do any work. And they need their brothers to not do anything when they don't do the work and show up with their stuff in court half-assed like they do. They are very, very sloppy. And I think that sloppiness comes from the control that they've had in the past. But thank God with the internet and crazy people like me, that, now people have a chance. And like you, because I wouldn't be talking to all these people if you weren't a fighter too. So.
Well, that's kind of true, but I mean, I look at yourself. I look at you as like you're like a superhero to me. You are. I mean, think about all the things that you've done and tried to help people. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Well, thank you. That's really nice.
Maybe somebody will write to Marvel and make a guy neighbor's superhero thing.
Well, I did.
I'm serious.
I did ask my wife if she wanted my signature before the first radio interview last week. She said, "Well, why would I want it now?" I said, "Because after the radio interview, I don't know if I'm going to have to charge you."
Oh,
of course, she just laughed again like you did and walked off. I don't think she listened to me half the time. We've been married for 42 years, so I guess as long as it's working, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand. So let me see. Well, a couple more people were trying to call us. They couldn't get through. I don't know what the problem is with that. I'm just checking the Facebook page here. We can go a little longer if you want. It's up to you. We can talk about maybe what we're going to talk about next week. You want to do that?
Next week, I think what I want to do is I want to do a screen share on my online course.
Okay.
Or I'll have the video together and we'll actually talk a little bit about it. If not, then I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do next week. I haven't really thought about that.
Okay, we'll put something together.
Oh, maybe we'll talk about the debt collection situation going on, where people are medical debts are being collected, and I can teach people how to get those people out of their face.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people don't realize that your medical billing is covered under HIPAA. So when they send your medical bill out to a third-party debt collector, it's a problem. And I have some documents that I've used. Actually, my kids have used them a few times. Both of my boys are in the military. One of my sons, he got a bill for his son being born 2.5 years later. And when you have TRICARE insurance, they cover all that stuff. So so I put these documents together. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that next week.
Okay.
And give people opportunity to kind of start getting their credit score cleaned up.
Okay. That's something big, because I'll tell you right now, I'm not telling. It's not a bad thing right now for me, but it's a bad thing because I'm down to like 458. That's the lowest I've ever been. I've had a lot of unique inquiries on it. I've had some fraud and identity theft on it. I've had some accounts on the credit score from FICO for, and they're all different. Experian, what was it? I forget them all, but with TransUnion, Experian, and the other one. But what's funny about it is it's kind of keeping the creditors away from me, because they know I'm in such sad shape that they don't bother with me. No, I mean, that's the other good side about it. The bad side is, of course, I can't get anything. And there's this new thing I want to talk to you about too. If we talk about this next week, we'll touch on this. It's called Credit Strong. A friend of mine said, you got to check this out. I said, what is it? He says, it's a loan. So I'm like, okay, it's a loan. How's it work? He says, well, it's a loan that you never get. Think about that. It's a loan you never get, but you pay on the loan. So the way it's set up is, number one, it'll restore your credit.
Sounds like a mortgage.
Right. No, but listen, this is the things they're doing. They're trying to credit get better, right? This is the way you can check it out, creditstrong.com. You'll see it. When you talk to them on the phone, they will say, it's a loan, but you never get it. I'm like, okay, when do you get it? Well, when you pay the loan off. So technically, if it's $1,000 loan, you could pay payments of $30 a month.
Oh, I see. Huh.
It helps your credit. Now think about it this way. My friend says, this is the way I look at it. He paid Lexington Law $99 a month for over 2 years, right? He never got nothing out of it. They helped a little bit with the credit, went up a couple points. That's it. But he didn't get anything out of it. He says, I'm paying this money into a loan that I'm going to get at the end plus the interest. So it's like a savings account. And it also helps credit. So I'm looking at it both ways. I'm like, wait a minute. Now, that sounds pretty good because it's going to help your credit. You don't actually touch the loan. You don't even use the loan until you need it. And when you pay it all up, it shows the creditors that you paid it up, and then you get the loan. You understand? No, it's like reverse the way it's supposed to be.
I have to think about that.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's off the wall thinking, but technically think about it this way. If it helps your credit and builds your credit for, say, $15, $30 a month, you're saving $60, $90 a month on the other one. And at the same time, at the end of the loan, end up 2 years, 3 years, you're going to get the money. So they do have like different packages where, say, if you have a kid that is getting ready to go to school or a kid that's already at school and you want to save for a college fund, you can get the $17,000 loan and pay on it in increments all the way up to the time they get ready to go to college and say, here's 17 grand. Now you got a college loan, plus you have interest back.
Mm.
So it's just the way it's designed. You think about it all different ways. It's like, yeah, it's a great credit building tool. Yeah, it's great because you get the money at the end, but you need the money now.
Yeah.
So, they're just all these new little tools they're throwing out there. And
I have to look into that. That sounds interesting.
It's kind of crazy, though. It really is crazy because you think you're paying on something that you're never going to get for a while. And, it does build your credit. So.
Anybody call in?
I'm looking here. Let's see. We had a couple of people call. I think maybe we're on a lunch hour. I don't think this time is right for them. That's what I think it is. Because a lot of people like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon would call in. But you got to get more people from your pages to give you testimonials, get people to call in. You have to light that fire under people. You know what I'm talking about? You have to I tell my hosts all the time, if you want people to call in, you got to light that fire. You got to say, listen, we have phone calls for you available to call in. You can go into the chat. You can comment. You can do suggestions. You can do a lot more stuff on this show that a lot of other shows prohibit you from.
Yeah. I didn't know we could do call-ins, or I did. Actually, I don't think I posted this in my
That's okay.
Foreclosure rescue group. I forgot. I was kind of busy last night I did a live stream and then I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. So
we're just at that age right now where we forget a lot of things,
Yeah. Well, I didn't. Well, I actually turned one off, but I couldn't remember how I did it. So then I started another stream. So then my wife was like, "Oh, you're still streaming? Oh, I thought I shut that off. Dang it!" So I had to run in here and yeah. So I was but I figured it out. I have to go back through the little Zoom, hit the live deal there, and my deal to go back to the Zoom editing thing to be able to turn it off. So yeah, I got that figured out. So
it's a little complicated. I think that unfortunately, I think the designers should have had you shouldn't have to scroll down to see the end, or there should just be able to click on live and it should just shut it right off.
Yeah.
But it's something else they got to tweak and play with. And then they've got, people got to comment and say, listen, this isn't working correctly the way we want it to. We want to make it easier for people to chat. We want to make it easy for people to end the call. and we got to put our information in so people know, because it's a great platform. It really is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that need to be addressed
Yeah.
with it. Especially I can't copy and paste any of the information to the meeting other than just the link. Tom told me that last time because of the situation with Zoom, and of course the either right click or try to copy it. It won't allow you to do it.
Yeah.
And that should be something easy for the host to do, or the co-host, because you want to share it as many places as possible. Now, I didn't put the phone number up because I'll tell you why. If I did that, people would be calling the whole time. And I don't want that. I rather put the number up when we're ready to get the calls.
No, right. I agree.
I'm saying, and they have to watch the video or listen to hear it.
Right.
So that's why I gave Tom the first thing, because I was communicating with him. So that's the only thing that that we're going to change. We're going to try to get the information out faster and more to people. But it's hard to have people just stay there and wait. They won't stand there and wait.
Right. Right.
They'll just start calling and calling and calling. Oh, I wanted to be the first call. I want to be the second.
No, I know. I
it
deal
gets
with people
interrupting
too all day long.
Yeah, it interrupts you, and it throws you off your track of what you're trying to say as a person. Oh, another phone call, another phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I got another appointment at 2:30, Gene. So
yeah, well, we can go. It was nice talking to you. We'll talk to you next week, same time.
Okay.
Same channel, and I'll send you the link and share this with you so you got it. And talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.
Buddy. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.